Am I the a-hole for sleeping with another woman after my wife wanted to open up our marriage? Plus updates. Original post. Hey guys, so my wife, 30 female, and I, 33 male, have been married for 8 years now. We've had our fair share of ups and downs during our marriage. 5 years ago, I found out that my wife had cheated on me with a man she met on Tinder. She told me they hooked up around 3 times. At first, I was shocked and wanted a divorce because cheating is a deal breaker for me. However, she told me how sorry she was, that she only loved me, and she really tried her best to show me I could trust her again, and I did. Now let me introduce my wife's best friend, Chris, 31 male. They've known each other for about 15 years. Whenever we had issues, she would always run to him to talk. Chris is single. He's had some relationships, but none lasted very long. I know he has feelings for my wife. He's always telling me he wants a girlfriend just like her and tells her that I don't deserve her. I never thought much of it because, in my head, Chris was kind of a bootlicker, and I never thought he had a chance with my wife. Fast forward to 6 months ago, we were again having ups and downs, and my wife shocked me by suggesting we open up our marriage. I was taken aback and immediately told her I didn't want that. At that point, we hadn't had sex in about 8 months. She was never in the mood. After trying many times to be intimate, I just stopped because I didn't want to pressure her. I love sex, and being sexless for 8 months made me really unhappy. So the more I thought about her suggestion, the more I considered it. Eventually, I agreed. She was surprised at first, but in the end, we both agreed and made some rules. No feelings involved, from us or the person we sleep with. No doing it in our apartment. We tell each other when we have sex with someone else. Always use protection. I have a coworker, 28 female. Let's call her Sarah. She's very flirtatious, and I always thought she was a bit into me. One night, after our shift ended, we walked to the bus stop together, and I told her about the open marriage. She was immediately interested and joked that if I wanted to shoot my shot, I could always ask her, so I did. I told her about the rules, especially the one about not catching feelings. She made it very clear she found me attractive but had no emotional attachment. The next day, I told my wife about Sarah, and she gave me the green light. A few days later, I went to Sarah's place and we did it. It felt good, but it didn't feel the same as being with my wife. The following days, my wife was really quiet and we barely talked. I knew something was wrong, so I confronted her. I thought maybe it was about me sleeping with Sarah. Oh boy, was I wrong. She told me that she and Chris had sex. I lost it. I screamed at her and we got into a huge fight. Not only did she break the rule about informing me, but also the one about not catching feelings. Her excuse was that we never clarified whether we should tell each other before or after the act. But what really infuriated me was her trying to convince me that Chris had no feelings for her. She said I was overreacting. I haven't spoken to her for 2 days now and am currently staying at a friend's house. In my head, I keep thinking that Chris is manipulating her so she separates from me. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. My guy, will you please have some self-respect and leave this woman? This is some of the most ridiculous stuff I've read. She cheated on you multiple times, opened the marriage up because she doesn't find you attractive, and then doesn't even follow the rules? She doesn't respect you. Agree. Divorce this woman before she has a chance to get pregnant, and all 3 of you wind up on Maury for some DNA results. What do you even see in your wife? You sound like roommates that just argue all the time. She was very loving and caring. That is why I married her. We were planning to have kids. I don't know what has changed, honestly. I was the guy who always tried to rekindle our relationship, but maybe she's just not into me anymore. My parents got divorced when I was 9 and it really hit me. So I always wanted to make it better. But at this point, a divorce might be the best solution. I don't want to bring up any kids in a relationship like this. What changed is strange D. She likes that, and I'm guessing she likes attention, which is why Chris is around. Single guys don't hang around married women and tell their husbands how lucky they are. Also, the reason she couldn't tell you before her and Chris did it was because it's been happening, which is why you two weren't having sex. Now for the first update. Seems like I'm a bootlicker myself. Oh, the irony. Thanks to all the harsh comments calling me a bitch, idiot, doormat, etc. It really made me realize what a freaking loser I am. Anyway, here's an update and answers to some questions. Yes, my wife is fairly attractive. I've heard that from colleagues on multiple occasions. She's that Pilates/yoga/fitness type woman. She got a boob job 6 years ago, which I paid for limau. Nice butt, brown hair, green eyes. As for me, I'm fairly average looking. Besides my height and physique, I don't have much else going for me. Because of my wife's fitness addiction, I got into it as well, and as a result, got pretty jacked. My best friend and I came to the conclusion that she's only with me for financial security. I have a solid education, a well-paying job, and my parents are wealthy. My wife hasn't been working for about 3 years. I was also planning to buy a house this year. Yes, I also think my wife had sex with Chris, and probably other men, before this incident. Now the update. I'm still at my friend's place. In my mind, this marriage is over, and I'm filing for divorce. I tried to tell her that yesterday over the phone, but she didn't answer my calls for about 3 hours. So I sent her a text before going to bed, saying that it was probably best to separate, and that I want to file for divorce. I woke up to a flood of messages. She was angry at first, then shifted to apologizing and wanting to work things out. We agreed to meet today, so the next update will probably be the last. Second update. This will probably be my last update. I just had lunch with my wife, and it was blatantly obvious she was trying to manipulate me again. She confessed everything. She and Chris had been doing it for over a year now. She started crying, saying it was all her fault, and she wanted to get back with me. But I've had enough. I told her I was going to file for divorce and left her crying in the restaurant. In the meantime, I've already made arrangements with our family lawyer. I'm staying at my dad's place for a few days to let things cool off a bit. He's very supportive and actively helping me with the divorce. Thank you again for all the comments. I might do another update in a week or so. We'll see how this crap show ends. Well, if it isn't the most predictable outcome possible, from a wife requesting an open marriage. How shocking. To be fair, this is the most predictable outcome of either partner wanting to open up a marriage. I have not once ever seen this work for people who started monogamous in real life. Thankfully, you guys don't have children. Why are the open relationships after marriage always the same thing? They have already been or have someone in mind when requesting it, and the moment the spouse finds someone, they lose their minds. Even better, seeing as you already mentioned the lack of offspring to worry about, they hadn't bought that house yet either. She would have got away with it too, if it weren't for those pesky Redditors and their meddlesome truths. Next story. Am I the a-hole for standing up to my pregnant wife? My wife is 31 weeks pregnant. When we found out we were expecting, we came up with a plan to remodel our spare bedroom into a nursery. My father-in-law is a former contractor, so we told him our plans, and he said he would help make the dream a reality. This was in February. We had 1 solid week of work completed, including knocking down a section of the wall to expand the closet. After that, the project stalled. My father-in-law was more concerned about golfing and fishing every weekend instead of completing the project he said he would finish. There were always various reasons. He needed tools, so I bought them. He said he needed his friend to help, but his friend was working on another house out of state and likely gone for the entire summer. Numerous times I told him I would help, and it was always, "We'll get it done. Don't worry about it. We're due in early September." My wife has progressively gotten more stressed as the due date approaches. So, despite construction not being anything I was ever taught with the power of YouTube, I started working. By myself, I laid new flooring, painted the entire nursery, installed new baseboards, trimmed out the closet door, and installed the new door frame and door. Mind you, our house was built in 1930, so nothing is straight, everything is angled, so this was not an easy first project to tackle. I needed my father-in-law for one day to help hang the door, otherwise it was just me. The nursery is nearly complete. I have one more floating shelf to hang and a couple of paint touch-ups. Throughout the entire process, I have yet to get a thank you from my wife. It's always complaints that I'm not getting enough done or hyper-fixation on the smallest details. You missed a paint spot there. It's become rather frustrating because I'm only doing this to help. Initially, this wasn't even supposed to be my project. I'm also the breadwinner and work about 50 hours a week. My father-in-law is retired and spends most of his days on the couch. On top of that, I handle almost all the cleaning and laundry, manage the doctor appointments, refill all medications, cook every night, and take care of our 4 pets. But I'm trying to set a good example for our kid. Yesterday, I worked in the nursery for another day. After 5 hours upstairs, I wanted to take a break and hang with our dogs. We have a security camera in our living room. I sat down for maybe 5 to 10 minutes in front of the TV when I got a call from my wife, who was at work. She works weekends only. When I picked up, I got, "You don't have time to sit down. You need to move to the next project. Do some laundry." "All right, fine. I'll throw a load in." After that, she got off work around the time I was done sorting and starting the load. We had a normal conversation, but when she got home, she looked at the nursery and said, "You know, I expected you to get more done today." I had enough. I told her I got as much done as I could, and that we are only at this stage because of everything I did. I reminded her that not once have I gotten a thank you or even a "this looks nice." She stormed off to her mom's house, where I'm sure she said nothing but negative things about me. Since she got home last night, she's barely talked to me. I tried to help her this morning with a few small things, and she responded, "Don't help. I guess I have to do this all on my own." I get that pregnancy does crazy things to a woman's biological makeup, and I don't expect to be treated like I'm a god, but I don't think I should be constantly kicked around for all that I'm doing. During the week, if she isn't sitting in our pool, which I also set up for her, she lays in bed. I do almost everything. A thank you goes a long way. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Pregnancy is tough, but it's not an excuse to be ungrateful and controlling. Watching you on a security camera to tell you to do chores is way over the line. You deserve a thank you. I'm wondering if she was like this pre-pregnancy, or if this is all new behaviors. Either way, OP sounds like a very good person being sadly used by her. She didn't suddenly get a job that's limited to 2 days a week. She didn't suddenly install cameras all over their house. Looks like she didn't even pick up a hammer, even if it's perhaps understandable. She doesn't want to paint or varnish things. She didn't suddenly forget how to talk to her daddy who abandoned them with the unfinished nursery. This isn't new in my opinion. Dude, this is way beyond pregnancy issues. This is spoiled brat princess issues. I'm guessing none of this behavior is really new, but has been amplified by her pregnancy. Serious marriage counseling is the next step. Her actions are wildly unacceptable. You need to set boundaries and stick to them, or she will run all over you forever. Stop accepting being kicked around and set some boundaries. Therapy is a great option, as is putting your foot down that every Sunday, or whichever day you pick, is for you to do whatever you want to help you mentally decompress. Dads deserve it too. Pregnancy hormones do not equal a free pass to be a spoiled, ungrateful brat. She could be helping still, and heaven forbid, she helps with her unborn child's nursery. If you weren't there, she would have to do everything, or get some help from family. As a woman who had zero help from the other parent, my mistake. I would have given an arm and a leg for the kind of support you're giving her. She's just too spoiled to see clearly. Good luck with the future. I fear this will just continue once the child arrives. Not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for considering divorce years after my wife publicly humiliated me? My wife, 31 female, and I, 32 male, have been married for 4 years, together for 10. 3 years ago, she gave birth to our first baby. It was one of the happiest moments of my life, but right after the birth, she really started to struggle mentally. She went through postpartum depression, and during that time, she changed. She resented me a lot. She made comments about my size. I'm 6'4", but yeah, I'm small down there. I tried to persevere through the insults because I knew she was going through some form of PPD, but over time, her insults really got to me. I guess my breaking point came during a small get-together. My sister and my close childhood friend, who's like a second sister to me, were over for dinner. In the middle of casual conversation, my wife made a crude joke about my size in front of them. It was awkward, and I don't think I've ever felt more humiliated in my life than at that moment. When they left, I went to our room and just cried. I hadn't cried like that since I was in middle school. I think seeing me like that finally hit her. The next day, she booked an appointment, got diagnosed with PPD shortly after, and started medication. It helped. She apologized a lot after that, told me she wasn't herself during that time, and even cried saying she hated how she acted. She said it was like she was possessed by a devil. I forgave her because my focus was on our baby and keeping our family together and the mental stability of both my wife and me. And honestly, things have been good since. She's a great mom and we've been stable. But the truth is, I can't forget that night. I can't forget how it felt when she made my insecurity public in front of people who matter to me. I've been honest with her that I still feel hurt. She always apologizes and a lot of times even cries, but it doesn't erase it. She's even suggested couples therapy, but I told her she's the one who needed counseling, not me. She's the one who mentally traumatized me. Last night, for the first time in our relationship, I told her I've been thinking about the possibility of separation or divorce. I told her it's not definite, but it's where my mind goes sometimes. She was shocked and panicked. Her hands were literally shaking, and I had to calm her down. I told her they're just fleeting thoughts, but they're not stopping. Am I the a-hole for considering divorce? You're not the a-hole for considering divorce, but you're the a-hole for not considering counseling. By your own admission, she traumatized you. She is doing the work to get back on track. You need to do the work to resolve your issues too. I hope it all works out for you both. I agree he's 100% valid for feeling the way he does, but healing goes both ways. If he's still carrying that pain, therapy could really help him process it. It's not about blame, it's about finding peace for both of them. What she said is awful, and I feel for you. But she had a mental illness. That isn't her fault, and she developed that illness because she had a child. That is because you and her were having a family together. She sought help and is clearly trying her best to gain your forgiveness. What you said about not needing couples counseling is not right and cruelly phrased, and the fact that you are still torturing her with the possibility of breaking up while you have a young child is awful. If you can't forgive her and you can't accept you need counseling, then you should break up. But don't make her the monster in this. Not trying to be mean, but some stuff just sticks, you know? People say get over it, but humiliation like that changes you, bro. Especially when it comes from someone who's supposed to protect your insecurities, not broadcast them.